Oh, oh, oh. Okay. We live? I think we're live. All right. All right, we are live from Occupy City Hall. Let me know if anybody listening to this. Let me know how the audio sound. We trying to get the audio a little bit sharper. We've been having a few issues with the... We haven't been having issues, but just trying to get the audio right. So let me know how this sound. I got the volume on the mic a little lower than usual. So... share this, please share this video. I titled this video what this video will be about. It'll be sort of a stream of consciousness, but like we've said, we want to continue to have content coming out on this page on a regular basis. We want to continue to we are going to continue to keep the main thing at the May 30th Alliance and at the Occupation and City Hall, and keeping the main thing means addressing the issues on a head-on on a regular basis, and when appropriate, addressing issues that people may or may not have with us. Right now, we are going to address, I don't know how many people seen this. This is the newspaper that came out today. This is the Sunday paper. For anybody who hasn't seen it, this is the Sunday paper. And let me know how it sound. I hope the audio is sounding good. This is the Sunday paper. It says demonstrators changes meant to stymie protest. This is a picture of the press conference, the City Markkket press conference that took place 2 Fridays ago. Not this Friday that just passed, but 2 Fridays ago. And at this press conference, myself as a member of the May 30th Alliance and organizer with the May 30th Alliance, I went down to this press conference to make sure that our presence was known, to make sure that the people organizing the City Markkket event understood that we were going to be there, and that the issues that we were raising when we were there last year were still relevant this year, and we were going to continue to raise these issues. I brought a sign of Denzel Duvant, who had been assaulted at the hands of the Rockford Police Department down there, to make sure that people understand why we are down there, that people can see that this picture, this is the face, this is the reason that we are down there. These issues that we went out for last year are continuing to happen. They're happening at a quicker and a higher rate. Argument could be made than that they were happening last year, and so it is our duty to come back and to raise awareness to these same issues again. What I want to do is I want to point out some of the false narratives that are being pushed and that were being pushed through this news story. Not through the news story, but through the participants in some of the news story. Tom McNamara and Kurt Wisenhan had made some comments in here that were, and had some half truths in here that I believe need to be addressed. Part of the reason that we have continued the occupation at City Hall is to ensure that we have a platform that is built strong enough, and that has the infrastructure to be able to address these issues and to be able to address false narratives as they are being put out, because that was something that we could not do, and so that was a thing we could not combat last year. And so I want to, let's see. Okay, let me read some of this. Going this year are dedicated protest zones that officials say demonstrators ignore. Matter of fact, I'm just going to read the whole thing. Let's just read the whole thing. We got some time. We ain't in no rush. We're going to take our time with it. Share this video. Please share this video. This is from the Sunday Register Star paper. I'm going to read this article. Rockford. Demonstrators will conduct their weekly protest of racial injustice at Rockford City Market again this year, even as an expanded market footprint will make it more difficult to deliver their message to visitors. Going this year are dedicated protest zones that officials say demonstrators ignored last year. And the streets where protests marched a year ago will now be inside an expanded City Markkket area filled with vendors, displays, and activities. Okay, let's address this first thing. Let's address this here, where it says, going this year are dedicated protest zones that officials say demonstrators ignored last year. Now, I'm not disagreeing with Jeff that officials said this, but I want to point out that the officials who highlighted this and said this, someone should point out to them that people were arrested in those protest zones that they designated. for protesting. They arrested people in there. It should be pointed out that they went inside those protest zones and pulled people out for protesting and arrested them. And it should also be stated that people were assaulted within the boundaries of those protest zones, that children and teenagers were pepper sprayed within the boundaries of those protest zones. So those protest zones that they are saying people ignored, the only people who truly ignored those protest zones last year were the Winnebago County Sheriff deputies and the Rockford Police Department and the Rockford Park Police Department, and the organizers of City Market, by weaponizing the police and sending them inside that area. So that's something that needs to be pointed out, and that must be pointed out when they say that the demonstrators ignored those protest zones last year. That's false. Police ignored those protest zones last year. And we got the phone charging. We got the phone charging. Some people who've been, hold on, let me hit this. Let me make sure. Is it charging still? Okay. Some people who watch some of our videos know how we give it up. We just gonna rock till the phone battery dies. So keep on sharing this. Keep on sharing this video. Leave any comments. React. Give me 1 second here. But I also would like to point out again, because I like to make sure we cross-referencing things and try to make sure that we are communicating things so that way people can. We want everybody to be understanding these issues and understanding the interconnectedness of these issues together. So as we are in a place now where it's 100% clear and it's 100% transparent, we have a real talk on here. People are now blaming me and saying that I am the reason that they got arrested, or saying that the May 30th Alliance is the reason that they got arrested, or the May 30th Alliance incited people to get arrested last year, which is false and is not true. But I think that it should be pointed out how some people were arrested last year, and there were people who were arrested inside of the protest zone, and so. This protest zone was set up by the police department, by the state, by the city. And so it is the city's fault and the state's fault for setting up an area and then violating the rules of that area and assaulting people and arresting people. That is not the fault of the people who are hosting the protest there. I hope that this is something that we can all get to a certain level of understanding on these issues. This idea. We do not, as the May 30th Alliance, we cannot control what the police department does. We cannot control what the city will do. We cannot control what the state's attorney's office will do. The only thing that we can control is us putting together an event, is trying to organize and mobilize community members, is trying to set up a demonstration which is safe, to be executed, safe both in keeping people free and out of jail and out of the system of mass incarceration, and keeping them physically safe. And we did those things. We checked all of those boxes last year. The place where people were arrested at City Market, before that arrest took place, for 4 weeks prior to that, there were no arrests. We walked on the same crosswalk. We did the same things. City Market went forward. None of the City Market goers were assaulted. Nobody's food truck was burnt. The streets were still standing. But that did not matter. What people were bothered by was the fact that they could not go there and enjoy their meal without people bringing up these issues. They cannot drive through traffic or drive through that area without being reminded about these issues. That is what people were really upset about. And so that is why they ended up weaponizing the police. And so let's just continue with this. Market and city officials say the demonstrators' aggressive tactics are meant to agitate, disturb, and disrupt the market where about 55 vendors, many of them women and minorities. Hold on. Where we at? Oh, dang. Hold on. 1 second. My fault. All right. Why they set the paper? Why paper set up like this? Okay. Market and city officials say the demonstrators' aggressive tactics are meant to agitate, disturb, and disrupt the market where about 55 vendors, many of them women and minorities, plan to work in an effort to establish or expand businesses. In addition to the pandemic, officials blame the demonstrators and their clashes with police last summer for low market attendance in 2020. And so I want to bring up two things in that paragraph, in that statement right there. Again, this is not me trying to disparage the writer of the writer or the paper for these things. This is just me trying to make sure I combat the narrative that the people who work for City Market are trying to push out, that the people who are employed by the city are trying to push out, and that the police department are trying to push out. And again, that is one of the reasons we have stayed out here for the amount of days that we have, because we understood that staying out here would help us continue to build a platform, because we understood that staying out here would keep the issue relevant in people's consciousness. That is why we have continued to protest and demonstrate in manners in which we see fit, to make sure that these issues cannot fall back into the consciousness of the city. And again, the majority, we have not complained about people's participation in the occupation at City Hall. We are happy with the people that are participating in the occupation at City Hall. It does not need to be more people. We don't need anybody here or participating that does not want to participate, that is not ideologically aligned with us. There is a wide city out here, a wide county out here, and a bunch of issues that can be tackled. There's plenty of room for other people to do other things and tackle those issues. We continue to want and to desire, just as we have in the past, people who are ideologically aligned with us, people who believe in the same manner as us, the ways in which police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice need to be addressed in this city. And we are not an organization, or we are not the type of people who believe in my way or the highway mentality. So we do not believe that we need to force our ideology or our tactics onto other people. Quite the opposite. I think that people who don't share our ideology and our tactics are just as important as us, because you can't just put one thing out there for people. You need to put two things out there for people. You need to tell them, deal with this or deal with that. Malcolm X all the time talked about the importance of the Nation of Islam and the Black Muslim movement, and giving leverage and power to SCLC and SNCC and CORE. And so when we have an understanding of this type of our history and where we've been at before, we understand of how to move forward in the future. And here at the May 30th Alliance, we have a great understanding of where we've been at before, and so we know exactly how we want to move forward in the future. So I say that to say, let's bring up where they speak about us agitating, disturbing, and disrupting the city market. It should be noted that it is not illegal to agitate, disturb, or disrupt an event in the midst of a protest, or in the midst of what's up, my brother, or in the midst of a demonstration. Those things are not illegal activities. These are not illegal actions that are taking place. And I think it's also important that we note that agitating, disturbing, and disrupting. What's good? Oh, for sure. Oh, good looking, bro. My fault. Yeah, good looking, bro. Be safe out here, bro. For real. Love you, bro. Oh, y'all, my fault, y'all. Brother showing love out here. Love my people. All right, these are the agitating, disturbing, and disrupting. These are the things that people do, that the police do in communities of color all the time, in lower income and working class community, and in disenfranchised and marginalized communities all the time. It's a tactic that they use to try to get the mean. It's a means that they use to an end. They agitate communities and they disturb communities. That's they doing the same thing to us when they come down here at 4 o'clock in the morning and rip down memorials. When they put out arrest warrants days later and arrest people in inopportune times. When they come down here and rip down memorials. When they bring 15 and 16 cops down here. That's agitating, disturbing, and disrupting us. They're doing that purposely because they believe that those things will help them to get to a certain objective. They think that those are tactics that will be useful. So if I'm telling you that it's other institutions that use these same tactics, why would we then not use these tactics? If the police department believes that agitating, disturbing, and disrupting is something that can be a useful tactic for them to reach a certain objective or get to a certain goal, if the the army, military believe that agitating, disturbing, and disrupting foreign countries where they believe communism is, or oil is, or terrorists are, if they believe those things should be done in those areas to try to get to a certain means to get to a certain end, why would we not do those same things if we are being being shown that these are tactics that people believe work. If these are things that historically have worked. If, again, we have the May 30th Alliance Community Library that we got over here. Hold on, I'm going to go grab it real quick. Okay, this is something that we're gonna have this down here. We're gonna have it open Friday too. So I hope some people come down here in hopes to and get a couple books, check a couple books out. But I'm just bringing this up real quick because there's been some false narratives. I want to counter all these false narratives going on. This is the May 30th Alliance Community Library down here, and we have books in here, not from just one author or two authors or three authors, from multiple authors, speaking about how agitating, disturbing, and disrupting the status quo in America has been how any type of true cultural change has come about. This is a book called In Defense of Looting. It's a book by Dr. King called Where Do We Go From Here, Community or Chaos, which speaks about that. This is a book down here called The Purpose of Power, How We Come Together When We Fall Apart, speaking about that. It's a book by Cornel West called Race Matters, speaking about that. And again, for people who, again, these false narratives going on, no, we have not been reading zines or passing out zines from other organizations or from other places in other areas. But one of the things we have done and that we continue to do is read literature regularly on different social media platforms. We did that for a month going forward. We'd only stopped. We was going to do it for the entire month of April. We only stopped because of the killing of Faustin Guaitigo and the shooting of Jose Gonzalez Jr. But even in the midst of stopping of those things, we have all of those videos up on our Facebook page. They're being transferred now up onto our YouTube page. So that this false narrative of us not working for political education or us not trying to further education or informing people is untrue. People have came down here and taken books and checked out books from this May 30th Alliance Community Library before we even got to the point of unveiling it. So that is not something that is true. This is something that we've been planning going forward. We've purchased books from money donations. We went around and fundraised to get these books specifically. Anything we've ever fundraised for, we've been open and transparent about what that fundraising was for and what that money was going to be spent for. And so I'm bringing this up to counter multiple narratives that are out there. Got to kill two birds with one stone sometimes. But so please, anybody who may not understand these things, it's okay to not understand. It's okay not to know these things. But agitating, disturbing, and disrupting is how the American society has moved forward and progressed since the inception of this nation. So you damn right that's what we done did. Hold on. All right. Okay. Okay, so now I want to bring up where they say where the officials blame demonstrators and clashes with police for low attendance. I'm happy that he used the word blame in there because that is something that has happened. These privileged, and you can cut it however you want to. Any of the white people, Peter Provenzano and Kathy McDermott and Tom McNamara and Todd Cagnoni, these people at the top of the pyramid of City Markkket and the top of the pyramid of the city of Rockford are white people with privilege. What kind of gall can a privileged white person have to blame not making enough money, which with the low attendance is really saying they don't care that they didn't have enough people there. What they saying about low attendance is they didn't make enough money. They blaming these are what privileged white people blaming not making enough money on people bringing up issues that predominantly affect black people. People bringing up issues about black death and black trauma and state sanctioned violence coming down on black and brown people, on low class people of people in a lower class system. And again, I'm trying to some of these things, I'm working through some of these thoughts as I'm speaking them. So if my diction, if I'm not orating this in the smoothest way possible, I apologize for that. But I just think that, and the same thing for them to put a pandemic was going on, which was taking people's lives. People were dying. People's families have been destroyed. As they were pointing out, people's businesses have been destroyed. How can you have the lack of understanding to try to equate a pandemic of that nature to protest, to say that both of these things, pandemics and protesting, are the things that cause this to fail? The pandemic, by the protesting, is something that was not stopping them from making money. It was the City Market when people who were out there protesting, City Market denied protesters from going inside, or denied people who were there watching the protest from going inside, or denied people who they thought were part of the protest from going inside. They did those things. The May 30th Alliance never said, if you're here for the protest, you can't go inside. If you're here at the demonstration, you can't go inside. So those were things that they were doing, not things that we were doing, not tactics that we were taking place. Even this clashes with police. I want to point that out, where they say they blame clashes with police for low attendance. City Market weaponized the police. Kathy McDermott and Todd Cagnoni and Peter Provenzano and Tom McNamara, these were the people who sent the police out there. And the state's attorney, Marilyn Hyde Ross, and now it's Jay Hanley. These are the people who are sending the police out there. We're not calling the police and saying, hey, come down to City Market, let's have a clash. That's not what's happening. Multiple people these people who are being arrested, people who have been arrested last year were arrested, partaking in an action that had taken place for a full month, partaking in the exact same actions, and there were no clashes with police. So they can't even, again, this goes back into a false narrative that other groups have been pushing out here, where people continue to, hold on, let these motorcycles go by. False narratives that's being pushed out by other groups out there, where people continue to disregard the first month of the City Market protests, where no one was arrested by the police, where there was some interaction with Metro enforcement officers who grabbed people and who should not have done those things, but there were not people assaulted or pepper sprayed at the extent in which ended up happening after July 31st. And when you discount those things taking place, when you discount that those things happened, and you just pick the story up at the very first arrest, and then you say people were incited by the May 30th Alliance, or when you say clashes with protesters and the police led to low attendance, that's a half truth. That's half of the story. That's half the story. The full of the story is that for a month, people went and protested, and the only type of clashes that took place, or the clashes that happened, were small ones, were small interactions with Metro enforcement officers that did not devolve to the things that happened on July 31st and August 7th and August 14th and going forward. And again, it was not an accident that clashes with police took place. The police planned for those things. The police did those things specifically. Police officers went looking for clashes. Police officers went looking to have violent interactions with people who were there. People were not running into the line of fire to police officers. People weren't charging into police officers. People weren't throwing Molotov cocktails or throwing bricks at police officers. Police officers were arresting people for walking on a crosswalk. Police officers were arresting people for having a megaphone. Police officers were slamming people to the ground, pepper spraying people, sitting on people's heads. And again, we did not lead people out for that to happen. And we didn't lead people out. We set up an event, and everybody chose what they decided to do. Anytime that we ever took part in any type of action or any type of thing going forward, we never spoke as if you were here, you had to take place in it. There was plenty of times where people chose to not walk on the crosswalk who were there and stay on the sidewalk. It was times where people chose to be in the snow fencing area, and people chose to not be on the snow fencing area. Some people chose to march in, some people didn't choose to march in. The last year's City Market was the definition of autonomy. And again, everybody was allowed to do what they felt was their best course of action. And it was times where that even led to the message being distorted, the message in which we were out there for being distorted. But because of the culture of what was going on in the community, people were allowed to have the space to do those things. And so again, this idea that clashes with the police, whether it be from people who were involved with the protests that happened last year, who now have change a different perspective of the things that took place, or whether it be the city officials and the police officers who were there, who were involved in the things that took place last year, that now have a different perspective or a different take on what happened. It becomes our duty and our responsibility as the May 30th Alliance, and myself as an organizer in the May 30th Alliance, to say, no, that's our perspective, and our vantage point is still the same. We still stand on all those same things that we stood on then, and we still have the same ideology that we have then, and this is what we went out there for. This is what the full story of it is. This was not an action that was meant for to have clashes with police. This was not an action that was meant for people to be arrested. That was something that was done once the action was successful, to try to decentivize people from participating in the action. And they say sometimes people scared of success. That's the thing that they say. Let's continue to read. Let's see. Where we at with it? Leslie, low market attendance to 2020. Leslie Roth, who has been at the forefront of dozens of marches and orchestrated the 224-day and counting continuing protests outside Rockford City Hall, says protesters did not aim to disrupt the market. And people should go back and watch our very first video, and they can see in that first video that is not what we went out there for. We went out there to have a message and to speak a message because we knew how many people were in that area, because we knew that was a heavy populated area. We knew that it was a lot of people there, and we wanted people to hear this message. The same reason that we went to Food Truck Tuesdays, but there just was a difference in how we was treated. We didn't do anything differently. We went with me. It was me and one other member of the May 30th Alliance, a microphone and a speaker, at both places, both times, the same week the first time. And at one place we were treated with dignity and with respect and with understanding and with empathy about the issues, and with another place we were vilified, criminalized, dehumanized, and stigmatized, and then the police was weaponized, and then that is why things, when the next time we went back there not only to make sure that our message was being heard by multiple people, that where a huge where a big gathering of people was at. We wanted to be there for our message to be heard, because we wanted ears. But we also went there to let the people who run City Market know that since they put profit over people, that we feel that their event needs to be disrupted, that they need to be protested, since this is where their values are, since this is where they stand at. And again, at any point, when we went there the second time, we were given a map with a much smaller area, with the normal City Market permit area, when the pandemic was at the height. At the height of the pandemic, they used a smaller area, and now when people are saying you ain't even got a mask, they saying future mask off. They out here saying future mask off playing in every state, and now they need a bigger footprint for the pandemic. Man, get the hell out of here, lies. Protest. But he said they ultimately became disruptive because of the response of market organizers to their presence and heavy-handed police tactics, which he says were cheered on by some quote-unquote racist onlookers. And I'll let you know, it ain't no need for the quotation marks. They was racist. And I can tell you right now, if you got plans on Friday to go down to City Market, you going down there to hang out with some racist people. It's the people who putting it together is racist. Kathy McDermott is racist. And again, this is what we got to, and this is, hold on, let me point this out. And this why we got the library, so we can do this. We can get better at doing this. Maybe this will make people understand. Maybe this will make people believe we politically educated. Hold on 1 second. Okay. And this is a book I will point out to people who have an issue. This is called How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. I'm not gonna stunt. This is not my favorite book in the world. I read the book. It's a good book. It's informative. I think this is more for people who don't understand different forms of racism or different manifestations of racism. However, However, I'm bringing this up to say it's people who maybe feel like when we call the mayor racist, or when we call Todd racist, or Kathy McDermott racist, or former Chief O'Shea racist, current interim Chief Randy Burke racist. They hear these things and they feel as if, oh, this person isn't racist, I know this person. Or this person isn't racist, they play basketball with black people. Or this person ain't racist, they dated a black girl in high school. This person ain't racist, they got a black nephew, niece, or whatever. I encourage people to read. We don't got the time to delve into this, but I encourage people to read this book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. It speaks about not just, that racism doesn't just manifest itself in wanting to hang black people on trees. Racism don't just manifest itself in not wanting black people to pee on the same toilet that you use. Racism can manifest itself like Donald Sterling, a billionaire who he was fine with his basketball players being black. He okay with that, but he got issues about he racist when it comes discriminate when it comes to the housing that his the tenants he have in his housing. He okay with his maybe his coach of the basketball team being black and taking a picture with a black person, but he don't want his mistress to be next to black people or to take pictures with black people. So racism manifests itself in different ways. It's not a absolute of if you racist you check off box A, B, C, and D. So again, I would encourage people to read How to Be an Anti-Racist. We trying to get multiple copies of the books down here too. So, and at some point we will get back to the ongoing teaching, and we hope to get more community, try to reach out to the community, get more community involvement. Hopefully, with it being a little bit warmer, but this city market is a monster in itself. So we gonna have to figure that out as time passes. So let me get back to this story. I'm gonna try to get through this whole thing. I know I'm procrastinating. My fault, y'all. Rolf. Okay. So I just wanted so we on the same page. It's racist people at City Market. It's not a question. It's a guarantee. It's gonna be racist people all through that. Rolf said his goal is to force residents to confront issues of police brutality, mass incarceration, and racial discrimination. Quote, "We aren't the people who are limiting the people coming in and out of City Market," end quote, Rolf said. Quote, "The City Market protest isn't called the City Market boycott or sabotage City Market. Even last year when we were on the crosswalk, anybody going into City Market could go and support the vendors or support the entrepreneurs and people trying to make new businesses. It's completely within your abilities to walk into City Market, find the vendor you were looking for, get yourself something to eat, pay them money, and find out if you like the food," end quote. And again, let me point again. Let's make sure let's talk. It is not called a City Market boycott. It ain't called sabotage City Market. The fight we are here to have is not the fight of trying to get people to not go to City Market or not go inside City Market, not get food at City Market. I believe that is a fight that it is evidence should be fought, that maybe somebody should be waging, but that is not the one that we are fighting and that we are waging in this moment. I believe that if somebody is paying attention to the things that went down last year at City Market, that they wouldn't want to go inside that City Market and get nothing to eat from none of those vendors, or get nothing or mix up with the entrepreneurs or buy no shirts or buy no hats or nothing like that. But that's my personal opinion. I'm not trying to push that on nobody else because that is not what the issue is. And that seems to be what has been, what continues to be forgotten in different areas and in different spaces is keeping the main thing the main thing. But the May 30th Alliance will continue to keep the main thing the main thing. That is why it's a picture of Denzel that stays up. That is why it's memorials that stay here on these light poles that we refresh and that we look at every day and that we speak to people about every day. That is why we are going to Food Truck Tuesday with pamphlets of speaking about the Winnebago Boone Integrity Task Force, letting people know what has going on in Rockford, in this city, in the areas they live in the streets they live in, and the people that they neighbors with, and the people that they go to school with, how these things have affected them. Okay. So we want the main thing. I'm just saying that to say we want the main thing the main thing. If people decide to not get food inside of there, that's on them. I go to Velvet Robot. Got great coffee. I love the Velvet Robot coffee. First time I went there, I ain't know that they was connected to City Market. I ain't know. But I don't want the destruction of Velvet Robot. I don't want people. I'm not finna see him, bro. Don't go to Velvet Robot. Don't get no coffee from Velvet Robot. That's not what the issue is. So I just want that, so that way people can't see this as just a hypocritical standpoint. We have frequented multiple downtown businesses and multiple restaurants in the area since we've been down here for the occupation. We have not been down here to try to destroy the small businesses of Rockford or sabotage the small businesses of Rockford. But we are going to highlight that the people who run City Market, the people who are in charge of this event, the people who frequent this specific event, because again, this is not like we outside of City Hall. We ain't camped out outside of City Market. And City Market been there all fall, all winter, spring now. I say that to say it's a specific part of City Market that we speaking about. It's specific people that partake in City Market we speaking about. And you see that they doing this City Market rollout for this specific event. So you see where their priorities lie for the people who think, who don't understand, and let's speak on this too for people who maybe don't understand power, how power works, how power can manifest sometimes. Have we stopped police officers from shooting unarmed black and brown people in this city? Have we stopped police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice? No, of course not. Have we made great steps towards that? No, of course not. Have we made little crawls towards that? Have we had the spark towards that? I do think that has happened. I think that collectively has happened. That is not just because of the hey, what's up? That's not just because of the May 30th Alliance. That's not just because of Leslie Roth. That's not just because of the occupation. That is because of the collective of all the people who have partaken in this, whether it be from the inside or the outside, whether they be part of this organization or another organization, whether they be supportive on Facebook or making negative, disparaging remarks on Facebook. Anybody who has actively participated in these last 12 months, we and I don't discount any of those things. We and I believe each one of those things are integral and necessary. That's the difference. That is the main difference. But not just us as an organization with some of these other organizations, but us as an organization against some of these institutions and against some of these individuals and some of these political parties. Is that we believe that we not saying nobody should not be doing the thing. We not sitting out here trying to police other people's ideology, police other people's tactics. We trying to perfect ours. We trying to progress ours. Where we at? So if you ain't nobody, that's just to say the main thing is the main thing. We out there for police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice. It is coincidental that City Market decided to engage in police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice when we went down there about that. I just want to leave you with that. You think about that. We went down to City Market, just similar to May 30th, and similar to Occupy City Hall, but we have went down to certain places to raise awareness, not to those people individually, not even to those buildings individually or those institutions individually, but to the overall police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice. And multiple of these institutions and individuals have decided to use police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice to get us to stop raising awareness about those issues. So that lets you know how intertwined these things is with these institutions and with these people. That lets you know how deep the racism is that you can go to certain places and certain institutions in the city and you can bring up racism and manifest it like a genie. Like it's magic words, like it's Candy Man. Go to City Market and say racial injustice 5 times. Watch some racists pop up. Poof. Let's see. Roth said the City Market footprint was expanded this year in an effort to quiet protesters, pushing them to the fringes of the event. Facts. Big facts. That's what they did it for. But officials say the expanded footprint approved by Rockford City Council was designed to accommodate social distancing amid the pandemic. Think about that. How you doing? Think about that. They saying that now. Is this so we all on the same page? We are in mask off. We are in mask off 2021. America is open. Ain't nobody wearing no mask. It's no more. Everybody taking their mask off. And now they saying that they got a wider footprint to accommodate for the pandemic. Triple the size that it was last year. And last year, while the pandemic was at the height, people was out here thinking that it was the end of the world, stocking up on toilet. Right now, it wasn't no toilet paper on the aisles right now. No toilet papers on the aisles. But they had a real small footprint then. Come on, man. And again, that is part of these half-truths that's taking place. And that is why we have and we will continue to pride ourselves on transparency. We have no the thing that other institutions and maybe even other organizations and other people may always have on us is that they may be able to bend the truth better than us. They may be able to tell half truths better than us. They may be able to manipulate the truth or manipulate the media better than us. But we will what the May 30th Alliance will always have and will be transparency on our side. Will be the full truth on our side. And we standing on the same things that we've been standing on. We gonna always look the same way in the light. And this story, when you start reading this story, start seeing the things that some of these city work that the city is saying and that the police department is saying, that, and when we get up to it, what the mayor is saying, you start to see that these people look funny in the light. These are the same people that said that they was listening last year, that they wanted to fix these issues last year. No, damn well that ain't what that. No, damn well that ain't why they. Okay, my fault. The expansion was originally sought months ago at a time when they could not know what reopening phase Illinois and Rockford would be in. Months ago. You mean when the vaccine started coming out? You mean when they started vaccinating people? They ain't know how. Okay. Just so people know, we are in the bridge phase, mask off phase. It is also, and I'm not saying that people need to take their mask off just so that way, because I know how these false narratives start coming around. I'm not saying I wear I'm gonna be like, I hate to be like, I got my mask. I know that's a thing people be. I hate to be like Trump and have to pull a mask out, but I got a mask. I do wear. So I'm not out here saying people don't need to wear masks. I don't want people to take it the wrong way. I'm just saying that's this space that we in. It is mask off time. I was just in the store with like. A lot of people walking in, no mask. Okay, let me get back on. My fault. It is also meant to better include nearby businesses in the city market, activating the areas around them and creating a street festival atmosphere. Joe Marino Park, once designated a protest area, is now set aside for Rockford Park District programs. As State Street becomes part of the market grounds from North Wyman Street to North 1st Street, the areas where protesters once marched will be filled with vendors, activities, large displays, and special events, even stretching across the bridge. Anywhere a protester ever touched is shut down. I don't know how many people went to the last City Market on last year, the very last one that they had, but it's going to be the same way that they're going to shut the whole street down. You ever been to Waterfront? Or like it's going to be like the Waterfront. They shutting the whole street down. And it is not for the coronavirus. It is not for the pandemic. It's for protest. And whether we like that they doing it or not is irrelevant. It shows that we have power. It shows that it's power. It's leverage being exerted. They don't want to shut the street down. This is how you know. This is how you know that you got. That's something that they starting to. Wheels is turning and they starting to go backwards. Last year, they arrested people because they didn't want the street to be shut down. They wanted the street to stay open. This year, they shutting the street down. This year, they shutting the whole street down. Last year, they arrested people for the street being shut down. They talked about how important it was for traffic to move back and forth in the air. This year, they shutting the whole bridge down, the whole street down. Hypocrites. Madison Street will be lined with outdoor cafe-style seating along with food and drink vendors. Part music festival, part farmers market, and part retail event. The Rock River Development Partnership City Market was a surprise hit when it opened more than a decade ago. Mark Barmore was also killed about more than a decade ago. It drew thousands of people and breathed new life into what was once a desolate downtown. It helped attract new downtown residents, spawned new businesses, and created a weekly summer ritual in the heart of the city. And so, that right there, for anybody who may not know or who is unaware, that's why that is right there. That's why we at City Market. That's I buy the paper now. That's a new thing. I'm starting to feel old, but I'm gonna write in this paper. I keep them too. Historical reference. Right here. And see, this is the part that sometimes people don't want to hear. I think it's hard for people to hear this because they don't understand how Malcolm X said that a revolution is based on land. He said you don't have a revolution if, revolution, the basis of land is a revolution. Basis of a revolution is land. And I said it before and I say it again. It's a reason we came to downtown. It's a reason that we go to City Market. It's a reason that these memorials is on these light poles. These light poles. It drew thousands of people and breathed new life into what was once a desolate downtown. So we want to draw thousands of people to the movement of police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice, and breathe new life into what was once a dead issue in the city. We want to do the same thing. We want to do the same things. We gonna use the same routes. You got the map, Drew. You got the map, Drew, out for us. Didn't nobody care about downtown. That's what they saying. Nobody wanted to be down here. And then they started doing City Market, and people wanted to be down here. People wanted to live here and participate in it. So what? That's the map. That's the blueprint. It helped attract new downtown residents, spawned new businesses, and created a weekly summer ritual in the heart of the city. We got a new summer ritual for the heart of the city too. We got the same things. We talking the same talk. That's what we down here for. Anybody who go get this paper and you read that paragraph for anybody that want to know what we at City Market for, what we at the City Hall for. City Market drew a record 111,160 visitors in 2019. Attendance dropped to a quarter of that last year amid the pandemic and at times confrontational demonstrations. We want 111,160 visitors, all to be forced to come face to face with the issues of police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice. We want 111,160 visitors to come face to face with what happened to Shannon Graves, to come face to face with what happened to Mark Barmore, to come face to face with what happened to Logan Bell, to come face to face with what happened to Eddie Patterson, to come face to face with what happened to Kerry Blake, to come face to face with that picture of Denzel Duvant, to come face to face with what happened to Tyrus Jones, to come face to face with what happened to Faustin Tigo, to come face to face with what happened to Jose Gonzalez Jr., to come face to face with what happened with Joseph McCormick, to come face to face with what happened to the people at the City Market protest last year, to come face to face with the things that happened to people at May 30th last year, to come face to face with the things that happened to the people at the Counter Back the Blue protest last year, to come face to face with the things that have continued to happen to people outside of City Hall last year and this year, to come face to face with the things that people on the west side of the river have to deal with all the time, to come face to face with the people from disenfranchised and marginalized communities have to deal with all the time. We want all that face-to-face interaction. We want it for all 111,000 folks, all of them. We hope y'all break new records. Get $250,000 in there. Bring them in. Bring them in. Y'all need to wear mask. Wear mask. 111,000 people. Quote, "Our goal has always been to drive traffic to the surrounding businesses," end quote, said Kathy McDermott, executive director of the Rock River Development Partnership. Quote, "That has happened quite well, I think. But having them actually be out on the streets and sidewalks, part of the outdoor festival atmosphere, was really our goal this year," end quote. That was their goal. What about the businesses on the street? What about the businesses on the side of the street that now traffic can't get through to there to get to them? What about those businesses? Now, we was wrong when we was on the street and traffic was getting blocked up and people couldn't get to those businesses. But now, I see. Just gotta highlight the hypocrisies. Oh, we finna get deep into the hypocrisy bag. Here we go. Rockford Mayor Tom McNamara said a protest zone was established last season to safely accommodate demonstrators, but, quote, "they chose not to utilize it," end quote. This everything that I should make a whole nother live just for him. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do another live where I just talk about his paragraph. That is the most nuts line. That's the mayor of the city blatantly lying. Jeff, that's who wrote this. Jeff wrote this. Jeff Coakley, you need to call Tom up right now and ask him why he lied to your face or to your ear. I don't know if y'all's FaceTiming face to face, but he told you a flat out lie. Go back, is because, and this is why it's important to have videos and photographs and firsthand testimonies of these things, so that way when these institutions that are actually having state-sanctioned violence come down on people that are actually perpetrating these things that we are talking about, when they start back talking a year later, you can put them up to the light. And you can put what we say up to the light. You keep the receipts on us, keep the receipts on me. I'm cool with that. I want the receipts. We got a book up. We keep our receipts too. We send you copies of them. I'll send you copies of my receipts. And so right here and here, this is what I'm saying. This man says they chose not to utilize it. People was in that on August 7th. People stood inside of that snow fencing in Joe Marino Park and stayed in there. People got pepper sprayed in there. People got arrested in there. People got assaulted in there. A racist white man came in there with handcuffs, multiple handcuffs, and tried to arrest people. He wasn't even no cop. That's what happened in that protest zone he talking about didn't get used. He know it. Don't let this man try to play. His man not. He got some people fooled. Some people be thinking he like a lame duck, or he weak, or he soft. Oh no. I know the truth. I know facts. He know what he doing. He's smart. He thinking this shit through. This is calculated. Because he knows some people don't have no idea what really happened last year. Hell, there's some people who was there last year who don't know what the hell happened last year or seen. McNamara says, after the brutal slaying of George Floyd in Minneapolis in police custody, the city has worked to institute reforms to protect the rights of residents, prevent excessive uses of force, treat those in mental health crisis with compassion, and hold police and residents accountable. Oh my Lord Jesus! What? Tyrus Jones has been shot since then. He got shot running away while being unarmed. The video footage ain't even been released yet. The man, after Tyrus Jones got shot, the man didn't even have the nerve to say his name in his Facebook post. The man had to be forced to make a Facebook post. He didn't want to make a Facebook post until we came out here outside his work. Denzel Duvant got beat. Picture in front of where he work at his front door, in front of where he work at. He ain't addressed it once. But he talking about the city has worked to institute reforms to protect the rights of residents, prevent excessive uses of force. It's been 4 excessive uses of force since that happened. You've never said the name of one person who that excessive use of force has come down on. Now, who are the people where and we finna, and listen, this is what we gonna do. We gonna get into, we gonna let this first week play out. And we gonna see what people say as this first week play out. We gotta let the sprint. We do have to let things unfold. I'm not trying to jump the gun and say people's names and call people out and ask people where they at or where they stand on these things. But it is some black people who have stood next to this man, and they need to start answering for these racist, the racist undertones and the blatant lies that he is starting to have come out to try to shift the narrative around these issues that predominantly affect black and brown people. The people who have stood next to him, who have endorsed him, the black people who have endorsed him, y'all need to start. We know who y'all is. We got the pictures. I hate to have signs of y'all. That's it. We got to put y'all on some signs in City Market. But we keep the main thing the main thing. I'm just saying. We keeping the main thing the main thing. Faustin Guaitigo, Jose Gonzalez Jr., Tyrus Jones, Denzel Duvant. Countless names on here. We keeping the main thing the main thing. But I'm just saying, your man's just looking funny in the light. McNamara said protesters who seemingly began by fighting for change now seem to, quote, have placed a greater emphasis on being disruptive and are primarily concerned with local celebrity and self-attention, end quote. I know the people he been talking to. He must have been talking to some people. That seems to be a common theme that people think. So let's try to approach this argument or this conversation one more time. And let me, political education, little information. Let me point out to people somewhere that they can go to read something to touch on this exact type of concept. Again, The Purpose of Power by Alicia Garza. I would encourage people to read The Purpose of Power by Alicia Garza. There's a chapter in here titled, hold on, let me find it. A chapter in here titled, it's chapter 17, Platforms, Pedestals, and Profiles, page 241. Please read this book, and anybody who thinks that what we are doing is to try to for some local celebrity or for some type of fame, I would encourage you to read that. She speaks on it more eloquently than I am even capable of doing at this time. I'm still learning, and I pride myself on still learning. I want to continue to still learn. The people, every person I interact with, when they speak to me about their experiences and their beliefs and the things that they've went through in their life, they become a teacher and I become the student in those moments, and I love those moments. So I would encourage other people to learn and to become students. And so for people who don't understand, please read this book and read that portion. But let me try to touch on this again. And this is something that I have had to grapple with. We are in a city in which there are a huge group of people in this community who feel voiceless, who have felt voiceless for decades, have continued to feel voiceless. People who deal with these issues who have felt like not only are they voiceless, but they are unseen. People don't see that they are going through these things. People don't see the effect that these things have and the trauma that lasts with them from police terrorism and racial injustice and mass incarceration. And last year on May 30th, the zeitgeist of what was going on in the nation touched down here. I'm in a place where I'm just complete transparency. May 30th was the only protest that took place. There were other protests that took place last year that I myself and the May 30th Alliance did not have parts in organizing. But of the highlighted protest, of the more known protest, of the protest that the more people participated in, I was involved in every single one of them that took place, or the May 30th Alliance was involved with every single one of them that took place. There is power in that. There's power in symbolism. It's not for one moment am I sitting up here and I'm trying to be I'm not trying to be the leader, because I'm not the leader. I'm not trying to be a king or the king or any type of caricature of myself. But I do understand that there is a community in this city that needs a voice and that desires a voice and that wants a voice and that is not upset about having a voice. My voice being loud does not mean that someone else's voice cannot be at that same decibel. That is a mind state that is from a white power structure mind state, this white supremacy mind state, this idea of divide and conquer, or a divisive mind state that lets you think that because this person's voice decibel is at 10 and maybe yours is at 2 right now, the only way to get yours to be at 5 is to take theirs down from 10 to 7. Meanwhile, it's about 500 white men with all their voice decibels on 20, 30, 40, 50. Ain't worried about trying to take another white man voice decibel down. They just worried about trying to raise theirs up. And so that's the place that we are in. That's the place that we stand in, where we need somebody voice decibel at 10. But we don't need it at 10 so that way other people voice decibel is down at 3 or down at 2. We need it at 10 to encourage people to raise their voice decibel up to 5, raise it up to 7, raise it up to 8, to encourage that next generation to get out the mindset that this idea that, well, you black, you don't want to be black and loud somewhere, or you don't want to be too boisterous about the things that you go through, or you don't want to get accused of using a race card, or you don't want to make somebody feel uncomfortable in them situations. And so that's the purpose of what I'm out here doing. That's the purpose of me using this platform. That's the purpose of me having my voice at a high decibel. It's not to discourage somebody else from their voice being at a high decibel. It's to say, go ahead, get loud, be louder. But make sure you being loud about the issues. Be loud about the main thing. Don't think that for you to be loud, somebody else got to be quiet. Especially when it's somebody else that if you was thinking about it from a logical standpoint, if you was thinking about it from a standpoint where emotions is removed, you understand that this person is trying to get the same message across as you. And taking their voice decibel down from 10 to 7 to try to get yours up to 5, that don't make y'all up louder. That don't make the voice go up louder. And so I won't apologize for becoming symbolic. I want to, let me say something. I'm not, okay, it's messing up. I'm not, and we won't as an organization apologize for the cover of this newspaper. We won't. And it may be me that's right here. But that's Denzel Duvant face. That's just as important as mine being on there. And it may be me right here, my face right here. But Terry was around the corner when this happened. But when I got locked up for this, falsely locked up for this, Ari was the first person making a video trying to make sure I could get out. Multiple other people came down here and held it down at City Hall. People donated. So just because the image is this, just because the visual is just one person, we have to understand that me, myself, and other people who, as you get involved in these movements, none of us just represent ourselves. Ain't none of us just this one person. I'm not doing this. This is 100 people right here, 1,000 people right here. The people decide how many people is represented in this one person. Let these cars go by. They loud as hell. All right. Oh, they got the red. They got a red light. We're going to have to hear them for the whole time. All right, where we at? Let me finish this up. Where we at? We almost there. Hold on, I got it. This McNamara part. I got to make sure they gone so y'all can hear me. Damn, this shit loud as hell. My frontal lobe, it's pulsating. Man, give them a green. Oh my goodness. Don't go. You ain't got to go home, but please get the hell out of here. I ain't got no issues with them or nothing. It's too damn loud. Lord Jesus, I have to smoke a blunt. Ease the stress on my temporal lobe. My goodness. Hurt my medulla oblongata. All right. Where we at? That's an even. Okay. Quote, they continue to harass and even threaten employees at the city when the employees are entering and exiting City Hall or when they are just out doing their jobs, like cleaning up garbage, and their vulgar language they've placed on the sidewalks in the City Hall building, end quote, McNamara said. Okay. This word threat is being used so loosely with these white people. And again, when I say white people, I don't mean all white people. I mean the white people that's up, dressed and racist at 6 in the morning. I seen that on the meme, but that fit perfectly for the white people that we speaking about here, because our man Kyle Saunders be up, dressed, racist early, 6 o'clock in the morning, washing off chalk. That's what the videos is. When you talk about harassments and threats and things like that, this is the threats that they talking about. This is because I was charged. They would say that I made threats to someone, so I was charged. This is what I said to Todd Cagnoni as he was leaving out of the City Market building. I said to him, "How come you didn't have a press conference for Tyrus Jones, but you had a press conference for City Market? How come you didn't have a press conference for Denzel Duvant, but you had a press conference for City Market? How come you didn't have a press conference for Jose Gonzalez Jr., but you went time in there having a press conference for City Market?" Todd, your grandchildren will know about this. Your great-grandchildren will know about this. You will never do anything in your life that is bigger than the things that is happening right now. This moment in history is bigger than me and you. This will be forever remembered. Where you are standing at, the side of history that you were on, will be forever remembered. And that's what we say we're not leaving. We're not going anywhere. See, these are the things that they are trying to say are threats. These are the things they are trying to say are harassment. This is a manipulation of the facts. Because I guess if you don't have any moral integrity and you're worried about how you will be viewed in the future, that does feel like a threat to you. Oh my God, you're threatening me. You're saying people are going to remember my inhumane actions, my racist actions. Someone like me, I hear that, and that's a lightning bolt, a light going off, letting me know, hey, what am I doing right now? Why didn't we have a press conference for when somebody was shot by the police department, but we're having one for a festival? Why do we continue to say we have a majority or we have 60% minority and women vendors? Why do we continue to say that? Is it to try to dissuade the fact that at this protest last year, we assaulted a majority of minority and women? Is that why? Those aren't threats. Those are opportunities. Opportunities to do the right thing, Todd. Opportunities to do the right thing, Tom, Kyle, Carl. Harassment. No, that's mercy, because you've been continued to be offered an opportunity. You believe in a higher power. And again, you know, religion is real divisive. I don't think religion need to be brought into, or spirituality need to be brought into these political things that we talking about right now. But for some people, they can't be divided. They can't be separated. So for the people that is like that, where they can't be divided and separated, if Kyle just went to church Sunday today, just did mass, or Tom just went to church and did mass, they did those things. They went through and they listened about Peter getting thrown in jail. They went through listening about the apostles being thrown in jail. For trying to speak out against oppression, for trying to speak out against exploitation, trying to speak out against the marginalization of people. They should be thankful that they continue to be offered opportunities to change their ways. That may be divine. Hold on, let me get back to where I was at. They followed staff and surrounded their vehicles. They continue to block the sidewalks. Well, hold on, let's do this first. They followed staff and surrounded their vehicles. Now, again, all transparency. I'll keep it 100 way, all the way 100. I was not here when this specific event that he is speaking about took place. I do not know how this event that he is speaking about unfolded. I do know some of the details of some of these things that happened and took place. The car being surrounded, the car that was surrounded, the person was not threatened, or their life was not in no type of danger, no type of imminent threat. The person was it stopped. The car became unsurrounded, or not being surrounded no more. Person left, went on about their lunch, went out. What up? What's up, brother? Love. Went on about their day. They was all good. Okay, trust me, because the way that he tried to paint it to seem like some kind of danger. This person was in danger. This person needed help. This person was illegally detained or something like that. If that was the case, they would have arrested the people and charged the people with some type of crime. They arrested me and Ari for disorderly conduct, for something, for not. I'm not speaking on other people's charges. Not speaking on nothing else that got nothing to do with other people. I have been arrested for knocking on a window. That's it. Because they want to arrest, not because the knocking on the window, not because the window was broke, or the window was cracked, or the window was none of those things, but because they wanted a reason to arrest me, and so they found that reason to arrest me. So if they thought that this was something that was this person was in some type of danger, some type of threat, they would have arrested this person. They would have arrested these people, but they didn't. That's the hypocrisies that's being highlighted. And then let's get to this line here. This is the most nuts line of this whole thing. They continue to block the sidewalks, which is not in compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. The sidewalks ain't blocked. As anybody has seen in any of the videos we put up, we've been here for 220 plus days. The sidewalks have never been blocked to the point where people can't come through, whether they walking, standing, whether they on crutches, whether they on a wheelchair. And again, this is not for me. I'm not trying to minimalize or engage in no type of ableism or none of those things. But that is to say that there is no type of capacity that somebody has moved through these sidewalks in which they were not able to freely move through those sidewalks. And if they weren't, and they said something or spoke to somebody about not being able to, the items that may have been hindering their movement were taken out of the way, were removed, or were pushed into a different manner. Police have come down here multiple times when the sidewalk was completely clear and people could completely walk through here just to try to agitate. What they say? Where is that? To agitate, disturb, and disrupt us, even though the sidewalks was clear. Just to agitate, disturb, and disrupt us, they have coming out here, and we've moved things, and we've moved things out the way. Okay, and there's videos and pictures constantly being put up of the fact that this sidewalk is clear. Now, one of the things that does block the sidewalk that may be against the American with Disabilities Act is when Kyle comes out here with all those people and they wash off this sidewalk chalk and block the sidewalk off. That's when the sidewalk be blocked off. That's when the sidewalk be blocked off. I got videos of police blocking the sidewalk off and people can't get through, people asking to get through, and police officers saying you got to go a different way. I got videos of that. You don't got no videos of somebody that has with disabilities trying to get through the area we're at and being denied a way to get through, or being stuck and not being able to get through. Again, that's another half truth, because they're giving out these citations for storage on the sidewalk and stealing items, which yes, we tried to get back. I don't understand that. That's another one of these false narratives going around, that when something is stolen from you, you shouldn't try to get the thing back. I guess restorative justice is not a thing that people believe in. The things that have been stolen to us should be restored to us. And so that's a false narrative. That's a half truth. That's media manipulation. That's what this is. That's them trying to manipulate these things to try to make people turn against us. To try to make people turn against people who actually trying to help them. And it's a trick. It's an old trick. It's an old book. He going into the old racist book. And again, I'm happy that he spoke. I'm happy that, because this is something that I've been seeing this side of Tom McNamara. I've been seeing the half truth, manipulative, deceitful side of Tom McNamara, because I see how he does not speak when these issues manifest. Locally, but I see how he speaks when they manifest nationally. And see, to me, that lets me know that, okay, so you gonna speak on it when you can't get no blowback from it, but when you can get blowback from it, you gonna shh. They continue to place items on light poles, which is clearly against our ordinance. We continue to place memorials on light poles. You see how that little the linguistics, just the little word gymnastics, continue to place items on light poles, because he know that if he say they continue to place pictures of people who have been murdered by police officers on light poles, that hit a little different. If he say they continue to place names of people who have been killed by police officers or died from racial injustice or died from mass incarceration on light poles, that hit a little different. If he said they continue to put stuffed animals on light poles, they continue to put flowers on light poles, they continue to put candles on light poles, they continue to put balloons on light poles for those memorials of people who have been killed from police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice, that hit different. See, so he trying to manipulate it. So he says items on light poles, because then it's this ambiguous thing like, oh, what they putting stuff on light poles for? Why you putting stuff on light poles? That's what somebody reading this thing. Man, what they putting stuff on light poles for? They ain't out there doing nothing. No. Tell them it's a picture of Shannon Graves on the light pole. That you telling police officers to come rip off. That you told your city workers to come rip off. Tell them it's a picture of Mikey Sago on the light pole. That you told your employees to come rip off. That you told your police department to come rip off. Tell them that it's a picture of Mikey Guzman on light poles. Tell them that it's a picture of Joseph McCormick on light poles. Tell them it's a picture of Eddie Patterson, who you yourself helped to criminalize, vilify, and dehumanize on light poles. Tell them it's a picture in the name of Jasper Banks on light poles that you sending police officers out here at 4 o'clock in the morning to rip off. You tell them that. Tell them the whole thing. We tell them the whole thing. May 30th Alliance, we tell the whole thing. And if somebody say, hey, that ain't the whole thing, that's 70% of it. Well, you show us you tell us what the 30% we missing is, and we'll come back and we'll respond to that. No matter who it is, no matter if it's the city as an institution, no matter if it's an organization that is built on racism, if it's an organization that's built on duplicitousness, if it's individuals working duplicitousness, working deceitfulness, or institution working deceitfulness, we gonna stand on the truth. We gonna stand on transparency. We gonna stand on honesty. We gonna stand on absoluteness. We gonna stand on the whole thing. We gonna stand on speaking it, on walking it like we talk it. They continue to place items on light poles, which is clearly against our ordinance, even when we have provided them an alternative location for memorials. Somebody asked Tom where that alternative location at. And then after he tell you where the alternative location at, first thing I want you to do is tell him, we don't give no damn about the alternative location. They staying on here. Now, I want you to ask him because he does not have a tangible alternative location. That is another half-truth. That is another lie, another false narrative that he putting out there. That's more manipulation. Where's that? Where's that? Tell him where it's at. Why he ain't say where it's at in here? He let you know he made sure to say we was pointing out the Americans with Disabilities Act. He made sure to get specific right there. Where the location at? Where's the alternative location for the memorials? And then after he tells you where they at, after he pulls something out his ass to tell you where he at, that's not that he don't actually got solidified, because, and this is another little fault. This is a half truth that's been putting out there. This idea that we don't communicate with the city, or we won't work with the city. And maybe I have not done, myself and the organization has not done the right communication to dispel that. So we will again. That's why we have this platform. That's why we are doing these things, to dispel misinformation. There is a person not there. They don't go in there on behalf of the May 30th Alliance, but they are a member of the May 30th Alliance, and they have partaken in the community review board being put together. They have partaken in multiple phone conversations and text messages from Tom McNamara. There's receipts of these text messages from Tom McNamara. They have had conversations with different aldermen and different people that are part of the city institution. So it is a false narrative, and it is a manipulative technique, this idea that we refuse to talk to the city, or we refuse to work with the city. There are specific people in this organization delegated to do specific things. And again, the word delegated is not done from a hierarchical standpoint or from a dictatorial standpoint. People delegate those things unto themselves. Because we gotta keep it all the way funky. Don't want nothing to get twisted and turned around and try to be used against us. But we know what we signed up for. We know the game we in. For us, it ain't a game. They think it's a game. You can tell because they playing. They shouted to bull. And again, the memorials, this is Say Their Name Square. Say Their Name Square, like we said, is in the heart of the city. They shout into bullhorns and blare sirens at all hours of the day. Woo! See, that's, again, they're back with the false narratives, media, back with the manipulation, back with the half-truths. And he good at it, too. And maybe he's still, and this is how politics works, is that, Martin Luther King Jr. said that, hold on, let me go back into the community library. Let me go back and prove to people that we are educating ourselves and doing political education down. Not to prove the people so much as to let the people who have supported us know. Let the people who are on the people in the future who will support us, the people who are behind us and ideologically aligned with us, just to let them know that these false narratives and these half-truths that are being put out there, just to put a cease into an end to them. We just want to make sure we point some things out. Let me reach into... Book at? Where's that? Oh, where is that? Okay. Another book. What was I? I don't know all this. City Markkket. Okay. First off, let's say this: we have not used the megaphones at all hours of the day, at all the time. Something very specific happened. People, when me and Ari were falsely arrested and falsely charged with disorderly conduct, there was a reaction. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. The issue that we have as a community right now is that these institutions have these actions, and we do not have the power as community members and as to have a reaction, or have a equal reaction to it, to try to stop the pressing that is going down on these communities, to stop the exploitation, to stop the victimization that is going down on these communities. They do action A, and what needs to happen is a reaction B, but because we do not have the power, because we are not organized and mobilized properly, we can't do a reaction B. So it allows them to continue to do reaction A over and over again, and each time that they do it, they become more absolute in doing it, they become more steadfast in doing it, and they get better at doing it. They perfect how to do it. They perfected how to shoot unarmed people in Rockford. They perfected how to shoot people while they're running away in Rockford. They perfected how to lynch black people on the streets in Rockford because they done it so often without proper channels of reaction taking place. And that's the issue that they truly have with us. What up, brother? Love you. That's the issue that they truly have with us, is that that the city truly has with us, is that we are having the proper reactions every time these things take place. I'm saying proper reaction, excuse me. We are having a reaction when these things take place. We aren't in a place where anything is being done perfect. These are the beginnings of something. This is not the middle of something or the end of something or the completeness of something or the climax of something. This is the beginning of those things. Hold on, I pulled this book out. I don't even remember what I pulled this book out for. That's my fault, y'all. During a May 7th news conference to introduce the 12th season of the City Market and announce the expanded footprint, Roth knocked on the window. Okay, let me do this. I'm gonna read what they wrote, but then I'm gonna let you know what I did on the windows, because the linguistics is important. During a May 7th news conference to introduce the 12th season of the City Market and announce the expanded footprint, Roth banged on the windows outside the indoor City Market and shouted about recent incidents of what he views as police brutality. Ooh, that's a loaded paragraph, Jeff. Very loaded. Okay, so let's do it like this. I knocked on the windows. I have knocked on the windows. I want to... Scott Yates. Leslie Roth, an organizer of a group called the May 30th Alliance, yells and knocks on the glass as Peter J. Provenzano, chairman of the Rock River Development Partnership, speaks during a news conference at the indoor City Market on May 7th in Rockford to announce details of this year's City Market. Knocked. Now, again, I know everybody linguistic. Knocked. I knocked on the windows. I didn't know it was illegal to knock on windows. It ain't illegal to knock on windows. I knocked on the windows. But also, let's address this. Shouted about recent events of what he views as police brutality. Now, I don't got an issue with this. Not an issue with Jeff, but let me just do this real quick. Jeff, this is police brutality, Jeff. This is police brutality. Faustin Guaitigo being killed inside his home is police brutality. Jose Gonzalez Jr. being shot while he running away is police brutality. This is police brutality. What up, Denzel? What up, Bird? Shout out, Bird. Okay, hold on, where we at? I need to put this back on the spot, but I'm just gonna hold it for the rest of this. Authorities arrested Roth Thursday, nearly a week later, charging him with misdemeanor disorderly conduct. They say Roth followed, harassed, and shouted obscenities at a Rockford City official after the news conference. I did not follow Todd, because again, they're using this word follow loosely. Todd came out of the building. I asked Todd the same list of questions that I just went through. Once Todd continued to walk to where he was going to, I stayed where I was at. So that's false. But, you know, it play good when you say it. And, you know, racist people and cop sympathizers there, and, you know, they buy a hook and sinker. Hook, line, and sinker. Hold on, where we at? Hold on. Harassed and shouted obscenities. Freedom of speech is a thing. I know that one of the things that has happened is some people have an issue with saying fuck the police or fuck 12 or fuck Tom McNamara or fuck City Hall or I don't have no issues with those things. And it's not illegal to do any of those things or say any of those things. It's not illegal to tell somebody to get fucked. Now, that's not what I told Todd, but if I did, I'm well within my rights to do it. especially somebody that's a city. Okay. Deputy Chief Kurt Wisenhan said the Rockford Police Department will protect anyone exercising their First Amendment rights of free speech and assembly. They didn't do that last year. But Wisenhan said police must intervene if demonstrators endanger the public or violate the law. I'm going to tell you something right now. The police will intervene. The police will be the only ones putting people in danger. They were the only ones last year putting people in danger. And the police will be the only ones violating the law. They were the ones violating the law last year. Every week in and week out, police officers came out there and violated the state law through the state crosswalk sign on the ground and threw it off to the side, left it off to the side. Days later, people was walking on the crosswalk nervous about getting hit by cars because people that was coming in the area didn't know pedestrians had the right of way because they would move the sign on Friday, leave it moved Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There was multiple people they've arrested have had their charges dismissed. So these people were arrested falsely. Some of these people were assaulted in the midst of being arrested, so they were assaulted falsely. So the police officers are the ones who are violators of the law. Wisenhan know that better than anybody. He know they work. Wisenhan said police will work to accommodate protesters, allowing them space to deliver their message within sight and sound of the City Market. Since the City Market has a city-issued permit, however, what transpires inside the footprint will be up to City Market organizers, almost as if it were on private property, an event that they haven't on the street. So again, when people are denied access into side City Market, and because the Wisenhan already, they made sure to get Wisenhan. You don't want to hear what Burke and Carla Red would have had to say about that quote. They make sure to ask the one that could have said a sensible quote, because we done seen they work, or Doug, and we done seen what they work look like down in City Market, what they work look like at City Hall. So they went to the right person for the quote. But even within the quote, even though he almost gave it perfect. His quote was a lot better. His quote was a lot better than Tom's quote. I don't know. Tom must have been off some yak when he gave these quotes. Private property. So for when we say Kathy McDermott and Todd Provenzano or Peter Provenzano, or when we point out these specific people that are weaponizing the police, they're letting you know these people are in charge of this. These people are the ones who are saying to do this and to do that. It's these people. These people are the ones saying that there is no freedom of speech inside of there. It's Kathy McDermott. It's Peter Provenzano. It's Tom McNamara. It's Todd Cagnoni. It's lit out here tonight. I'm gonna have a dumbass headache. Take 50 of leaves. Let's see. Quote, "We always err on the side of the First Amendment," end quote, Wisenhan said. Quote, "We 100% are there to protect anybody's First Amendment rights. There are limits to that. You can't create a public safety risk," end quote. Ooh, that took a while to get through. I'm sorry, y'all. That is how I read in real life, too. I stop just like that. I stop and talk just like that. Real life. And when I watch movies, I pause it and talk. So. Let me point out this too for anybody who maybe not be aware. They got a story in here about some of the things going on in Palestine. I encourage people to please read about what is going on right now over there in Palestine, and that is in the midst of reading that, in the midst of looking these things up to understand the intersectionality of how that connects with what it is that is going on here, the state-sanctioned violence that we deal with here, how America, the country and the business, the corporation of America and the empire of America endorses these same type of state-sanctioned violence overseas in other nations, and how Sleepy Joe, and I hate to agree with Trump. I mean, I don't agree with Trump, but the Sleepy Joe thing was apropos. He's asleep at the wheel, not truly speaking on these things, not taking a true stand of moral integrity on these things, and it's a shame that that's something that's taking place. I would encourage Let me got one more chance to do a book reference to this community library. I would encourage people to read Angela Davis, Freedom is a Constant Struggle, Ferguson, Palestine, and the Foundations of a Movement. For some beginner surface level things on the issues in Palestine and how they do intertwine and interconnect and with the issues that we're facing in Rockford, Illinois, and that we're facing in America. I said I was gonna rock till the phone battery died. The phone battery not quite dead yet, but we done rocking for right now on the May 30th page. I'm gonna wrap this up. I feel like this was very cathartic for me. This has become something. This is real crazy, but this has sort of become these talks, these lives, the podcast. We were doing the readings. We're going to at some point try to get back to that. Has become very therapeutic for myself. And hopefully I'm sure as we go forward, and I'm sure as already has been therapeutic for some of the other members of the May 30th Alliance. We want to engage with community members in the same manner too. One of the things that we will have, I can speak to this right now, at City Market on Friday, we will have this same live set up. We will have a table set up. We want people to come and speak and to talk. That is another thing that we will have going on. I can't tell you right now who will be the person, representative of the May 30th Alliance at the table doing the speaking and the talking. But we want to have community members here too, to engage in the conversation in real time, all spring and summer on the Fridays. And we're going to try, and we want to do that on other days too. Last Sunday, Rabbit, a member of the May 30th Alliance, organizer, I guess photographer with the May 30th Alliance, I don't know, was down here, and we had a great conversation last Sunday, and so we want to continue to do that. Shout out to X, great conversation podcast. And so, but I say that to say that we will continue to have this content coming out. We just made a TikTok. We're going to start putting videos up on TikTok. So we on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. We need to get a Snapchat. We'll be on Snapchat. So please, subscribe and follow and like all of those things. The newsletter is something that is going to be coming out soon. We're going to continue to have content coming out on all these pages. I'm going to make a live on my personal Facebook page too. We get into the Twitter thread is just about caught up, so please share that. We're going to be having some we're trying to get items together for not just City Market on Friday, but for events in the spring and the summer. So I'm going to do some more rounds of fundraising with the Cash Apps and PayPal's, Venmos, and those things. So again, the Cash App is $ May 30th Alliance. Venmo, PayPal is May 30th Alliance at protonmail.com. You can also, we're going to be at Food Truck Tuesday. If you want to bring money down there to donate, you can. If you want to bring money to City Hall to donate, you can. If you want to, on City Market on Friday, we'll have something set up for money donations. If you want to donate money, you can. And again, this money goes to things like flyers, books in the community library. We've unfortunately, bail money is a thing that has had to have been spent. Trying to maintain things. Megaphones has been something that we've needed. It's been equipment that's been stolen by the police department that we still have not been able to retrieve all the way back, that we have been replacing. And again, unfortunately, this is not something that we're doing to make some type of profit margin or anything that we're doing to become rich or anything like that off of that. So we are not we don't have some surplus of money stashed to the side. We fundraise, and for the most part, we fundraise, and we are trying to reach a specific goal amount for specific things. So I wish that we had a bunch of money that we was hoarding or something like that. I mean, I'm not this is capitalism, and all of these things are very touchy subjects, but we would be in a better position if we had that, because then we could pay for some of these other things. But as the facts stand, this is the very beginning of something. This is the origins of something. This is not the middle or the ending of something, and we aren't this organization that is this mammoth with all of these resources and funds. We are trying to build to get to that position and get to that place. With that being said, thank you to everybody who donated last week money to help me get bailed out of jail. Thank you to everybody who donated the week before to help me and Ari get bailed out of jail. Thank you for the people who will donate in the future. Thank you for the people who's donated when we were getting the community library put together for the April teach-in and for to get the items on the April teach-in. People who gave, whether you gave $1, $5, $10, $50, whatever you gave, we are thankful for it. Thank you to everybody who's continued to share these posts, share these videos, like and subscribe to our pages. Thank you to the people who have continued to support us. We don't want blind support. We don't want people supporting us no matter what, just because it's us. We don't want people aligned with us because of our personalities or because of our who we are individually. We want people aligned with us because of our ideology, because of the issues that we are presenting, the issues that we are representing, and so we are completely fine with any criticism. Excuse me. We are completely fine with any criticism, whether it be from internal, external, whether it be from racists and bigots, whether it be from people who were once aligned with us, whether it be from institutions like the police or institutions like the city, whether it be from Joe Schmo on the streets, or whether it be from a family member or a friend or a fellow activist. We are not against criticism. We are not against dialogue. We are not against conversations. However, it should be stated that we do not do anything that we have not planned out or we have not thought out, that we have not gauged and weighed with our ideology and with our morals and with our ethics. So you should understand that if you are going to be strong enough to have the criticism, be strong enough to withstand the response from that criticism. Be strong enough to withstand somebody criticizing your criticism, or somebody who lets you know that, yeah, I understand what you're criticizing, but I disagree with the reason that you are criticizing it. Not only do I disagree with it, but I'm going to continue forward in this manner. If you would like to not continue forward with me or with us, you are 100% within your rights to do that, and please do that. I think it's for the best. But don't think that criticism means somebody has to capitulate or somebody has to compromise or somebody has to change their thought pattern or their belief. You should bring the criticism in whether, I ask people all the time, people come down here and they say, and I ask them, are you coming down here to have a conversation about something, or are you just coming down here to get something off your chest? Whichever one you coming down here for, you can do. I sit here, let you get it all off your chest, let you vent, say all the things you got to say, ad hominem attacks, half lies, half truths, whatever, and hopefully that helps you breathe and you can have a clear mind, a clear head, and then you can go forward, and that can help you be the best version of yourself. Now, if you want to have a conversation and have a dialogue, and you want to have an ebb and flow and a give and take, and you want to understand, and you understand that just because you bring an issue that you have with something, it does not mean that somebody's going to say you are right about that issue, that they agree with you with that issue. And you can accept that, then we have a talk, we have a conversation, we have a dialogue, we have a rapport. And we can both leave that place with a better understanding of each other. And either one of those things that people want to have, we're fine with both. We're fine with both of those things. But I will reiterate, what we won't do, what I won't do, is Facebook messiness, is social media messiness, is ad hominem attacks, is trying to tear down people, is half truths, and things of that nature. We will continue to speak on issues. We will never try to dismiss something or try to pretend like something is not happening. We will continue to speak on the things as they happen, but we will continue to keep the main thing the main thing. The May 30th Alliance will continue to keep the main thing, and we're going to keep pushing forward. We're going to keep moving forward. All right, we outside.